It was a wild week 1. Running back is looking pretty bad, but there are some good guys on the waivers that can help you out. Quickly want to mention Tyler Allgeier. We're going to talk about guys under 50% owned. He's owned in about 57% of leagues, but just do a quick check because he was really good this week. RB4 on the week, had 15 carries, 56% of snaps, and 2 touchdowns. So absolutely pick him up. He'd be the number 1 guy if he's available. But he is owned in most leagues, so we'll go to Kenneth Gainwell as our first pickup, who's owned in 34% of leagues. He's probably owned, but again, you definitely want to go check. A lot of people dropped players, with all the tight end frenzy and all these random injuries that happened before week 1. He saw 62% of snaps. Rashad Penny was a healthy scratch, so I don't think he's going to be super involved. And then he was pretty efficient. He was decent on the ground, 14 for 54. 14 carries and 4 catches is really good. DeAndre Swift only saw 29% of snaps with 1 carry, so he's really looking like the lead back here. Obviously, it's going to be a split, but he's looking like the lead guy on a great offense. And the Eagles, they had a pick 6 early in the game, so they got off to a lead and really didn't have a lot of need for offense early, and they kept that lead the whole game. He's a good pass catcher. He can run. Only other running back that was involved was Boston Scott, so he'd be my number 1 guy, owned in under 50% of leagues.
Yeah, anytime you can get a guy that projects to be the number 1 on what should be a talented offense that should put up a lot amount of points, on the waiver, it's a no-brainer. Like you said, 18 touches.
Yeah.
If you're getting 18 touches a week on the Eagles offense, behind that offensive line, you're going to have some blow-up weeks.
And the Eagles struggled, and I think they'll get it together and be better. So, there's going to be more touchdown opportunities to go around, even though he didn't get one this week. Next up is Kyren Williams, but before we talk about that, still got about a week left to enter into the giveaway for a signed Keenan Allen jersey. All you've got to do to enter is subscribe to the channel and leave a comment, and you'll be entered. So only 2% of you guys who watch are subscribed, so we'd super appreciate it if you could support the channel. Enter this giveaway. We're giving away for free to thank you guys for 500 subscribers. All right, back to the pickups. Aaron, tell me about Kyren Williams.
So Kyren Williams, he's a guy that was kind of hyped up by the coaching staff during the offseason, but, everybody just kind of threw it out. Cam Akers is the guy. He kind of had a great 5-game into the season last year, so people thought he would be the guy. But Kyren Williams, who is only 6% owned, he was the RB7 on the week thus far. We are recording this before the Monday night game, so if something happens there. But right now, he's the RB7. He took 65% of the snaps compared to Akers' 35%. He had 15 carries for 52 yards, which is only 3.5 yards per carry, so not crazy there. But, it is what it is. He got 2 touchdowns and 2 targets. So he does look like he is the goal line back. Many projected Cam Akers to have that role, but it does look like they prefer Kyren Williams there. Maybe he's just more versatile. They don't know if they're going to pass it or run it. Cam Akers had 22 rushes for only 29 yards, and 12 of those yards came on 1 carry. So that is a very, very inefficient day and one of the worst yards per carry stats I've ever seen in a single game at 1.3, and he had 0 targets. Now, next week, they do get San Francisco, which if any of you watch the San Francisco Steelers game, they're a pretty good defense. So you're probably not going to want to start either of these guys next week. But, that gives you one more week to pick up Kyren, see how the carries work out.
Exactly.
Even if he doesn't have a good stats game, if he's still getting, 65% of the snaps or 60% of the snaps, that shows you who they trust and who they like in this offense. And to find a running back that's getting 60+% of snaps on the waiver could be, not league winning, but say you had J.K. Dobbins who got injured or a couple of these other guys that got nicked up. You draft Jonathan Taylor and you're waiting on him to come back. He's just one of the guys that can fill the gaps until those star players get back or someone else emerges.
Yeah, exactly like you said. Pick him up. Wait a week. Don't start him. I know it's tempting after the 2 touchdowns, but that matchup, I worry about the Rams. They were, beating up the Seahawks, and we didn't really expect that. Don't expect the same to happen with the San Francisco game. If you don't get him, though, check if he's dropped next week if he doesn't have a great performance, because we're going to look at the workload. We're not going to look at the final result there because you probably only want to play him in plus matchups anyway. Really what we like here is the the efficiency is just being better than his only competitor there with Cam Akers. And Cam Akers didn't look good. He had 22 carries. I mean, imagine if some of those carries even went to Kyren Williams and he gets even more work. It could be pretty good. Next up, Joshua Kelley. Joshua Kelley was a running back 9 this week, again, before the Monday night game. But he saw about half of snaps, just under, I think, the amount, 51% for Austin Ekeler. So nearly a 50-50 split. I know Ekeler did leave the game for a little bit, but it was nothing serious, and he came back pretty quickly. So surprisingly, they're going with the split here, and it's not really a 3-way rotation. It's more of a 2-way rotation here. Joshua Kelley has established himself as the number 2. It looks like he was pretty efficient on the ground, 16 for 91. That's 5.7 yards per carry. Still didn't hit the 7+ that Ekeler did. Obviously, Ekeler's still the lead guy. But he also got himself a touchdown. So he's going to be used in a deeper league. You could start him in the flex. But more so, he's probably just a high upside handcuff. If they like him strongly as the number 2 and he's able to be this efficient on a good offense, if something were to happen to Ekeler, and Ekeler is, I think, 29 at this point, definitely could happen. Absolutely should be on someone's bench. And if you got the room for it, he has a lot of upside.
Yeah. So since Kellen Moore is our offensive coordinator this year, he's pretty much used a 2-tandem back everywhere he's went, where he's had capable backs. You think of last year, he had Zeke and Tony Pollard. Zeke got all the carries up the middle and a lot of the goal line work. Tony Pollard got a lot of the catches and spread out touches. I think that's kind of what they're doing here with Joshua Kelley and Austin Ekeler. Austin Ekeler had the Tony Pollard role where he got all the spread touches and he spread it out and he had the catches. And then Joshua Kelley was their banger as he just ran it up the middle, tough running. He did get a touchdown inside the red zone. So I do see that they're going to split red zone carries as well. And he averaged 5.7 yards per carry, which for someone that is getting mostly inside zone runs, that's pretty impressive. So I think Joshua Kelley could be a huge pickup. And then you always have the insurance that if Austin Ekeler gets hurt, which he has in the past with soft tissue injuries.
And he literally did that game. He came out of the game.
You have a league winner right there for a top 10 to 5 offense. All right, so that moves us next to Justice Hill and Gus Edwards, the 2 Ravens. I'm sure most of you know now, J.K. Dobbins got hurt. Before the injury, Gus Edwards pretty much didn't play at all, and it was Justice Hill and J.K. Dobbins playing. Justice Hill got all of the inside the 10 carries, which was 3 for 3, and he turned 2 of those into touchdowns. So I do think he's going to be the goal line guy. But after the J.K. Dobbins injury, they did split 50-50 almost exactly. And so really, I think this is just a random crapshoot of pick your guy and hope one of them gets good. There's always the worry of Kareem Hunt or Leonard Fournette signing there, which they do have Melvin Gordon on the practice squad. So who knows? Maybe they just move him up to the active roster and they run with Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, and Melvin Gordon. That's always a possibility. So these are guys that are going to get touches in an offense that could be good. We've seen them have success running the ball before. So, if you just need a low-end starter or a flex, especially in deeper leagues, just add one of these guys on your bench. See how the snaps play out next week. If they don't fall in your favor, you can just cut them.
Yeah, the reason I like these guys a little bit less than the other guys we've talked about thus far, Justice Hill was seeming to be the number 2 this week. But if you go to last year where they were both on the team, Gus Edwards played more and was more efficient with those touches. So that makes me prefer Gus Edwards, but not by a lot just because of the usage last week. He also was more efficient last week with the touches that he got. I think that your league mates may go for Justice Hill because of that 2 touchdown performance, but I would just put in low bids for both of them if you don't get any of the guys we talked about before. All right, next up, Roschon Johnson. Khalil Herbert was doing pretty well early on, but then second half of the game, they got down by a lot, and Roschon Johnson came in and got a lot of pass catching work, which is really good for fantasy. He was the RB11 on the week, got 39% of the snaps, the main thing here is 7 targets and 6 catches. He did get a touchdown, which helped give him a good fantasy day, but if you're in a PPR league of any kind, Roschon Johnson has a decent amount of upside. Obviously, it's a 3-way split backfield, and that's pretty gnarly. 36% for Khalil Herbert of the snaps, 30% or something. Was it 39% for Roschon, and 28% for D'Onta Foreman. I mean, you don't love to see that. However, you do have to consider the fact that Roschon played pretty well in this game. He is a rookie, so there's still room to sort of hopefully make it more of a two-man backfield, and he gets a lot of pass-catching work in there. That's what you're hoping for. He's not super high on my priority list if you have other guys that we've mentioned available, but if you're in a deeper league or if you just want to shoot for the rookie upside, I don't mind stashing him on my bench.
Yeah, I really like Roschon. I've been a fan of his since he's been at Texas. I do think kind of what you said, they did just want to slowly work him in because he is a rookie. Yeah. I do think D'Onta Foreman is going to get phased out of this backfield. I think they are going to go to Roschon and Khalil Herbert as the main two guys. I mean, think about it. Roschon in his first game got more touches than Jahmyr Gibbs did in his first game, and Jahmyr Gibbs was a number 12 overall pick. So sometimes it takes a while for these rookies, but for him to get 11 opportunities and turn that into 55 total yards and a touchdown week one, that's pretty encouraging for me personally. Granted, most of it was in the fourth quarter, kind of garbage time. They were getting beat pretty bad, but he got the touches and he performed. So.
And they looked the Bears just didn't look good, so this could happen a lot. And we haven't seen Khalil Herbert and D'Onta Foreman be like pass catching specialists or anything in the past, whereas he could come in and fill that role. Yeah.
Last up we got is Tyjae Spears. He's available in most leagues, only rostered at 24%. So surprisingly, he played 34 snaps to Derrick Henry's 30. I don't think anybody would have believed anybody if they told you that Tyjae Spears played more snaps than Derrick Henry, and they were both healthy the whole game. He played every single third down snap, which, makes kind of sense. Derrick Henry isn't known for his pass catching, but it's still kind of surprising because Derrick Henry's always had the workhorse role, and now he might not. Now, he still got the bulk of the touches, bulk of the carries, and he actually had 56 receiving yards this game, which is very nice to see for Derrick Henry. But, Tyjae Spears in his first game as a rookie, out-snapping Derrick Henry, getting the important third down role touches, that shows me that this coaching staff trusts him. Now, he might not have standalone value every week because, like I said, Derrick Henry's for sure getting goal line, and he still is the go-to back. I'm not saying he's not, but for him to play 34 snaps shows that the Titans trust him. And if Derrick Henry gets hurt, which he has the past 2 seasons at some point, Tyjae Spears is in line to get a lot of work. Now, we don't know how good he will be with that work, but any running back at this point that's getting touches is a running back that needs to be rostered.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to plug him in immediately. If you need to pick up a running back that you want to plug in, and Allgeier's not available, then Kenneth Gainwell is that guy for me. I think you're going to be able to plug him in. You might be able to play Josh Kelley, waiting on Kyren Williams, but yeah, immediate plug-in, there's not a ton, but for me, it's probably Gainwell or Kelley in that situation.
Yep. Agreed.
All right, that does it for our running back pickups for week 2. If you want to enter the Keenan Allen signed jersey giveaway, all you have to do is subscribe and leave a comment. It is free. We'd appreciate it. Only 2% of you guys are subscribed, and that would help us out as well. And we'll be giving it away in about a week, announcing the winner on this channel. Stay tuned, subscribe, turn the bell on so you don't miss when we announce the winner. Thank you guys for watching. We've been the Fantasy Bros, and we're out.